Welcome back, guys. I am Nate with the King of Random. We recently made a video with a gummy heart, and today we're going to try and make one more fun Halloween treat. Grant made these two silicone molds off of actual brains, and in previous videos has made a zombie brain using green and purple versions of his gummy candy. Today we're going to try and make a new kind of zombie brain using some green and white chocolate and some watermelon flavored gummy candy. We're going to try to have a few different layers. The outside layer will be green, so the whole thing will look like a zombie brain. Old and moldy and gross. After the green layer, we'll have a white layer of chocolate, and then our watermelon flavored and colored gummy candy. Hopefully that means that when we crack open our zombie brain, we'll have nice slices of candy watermelon. As a fun little bonus, we've got these little licorice pieces, and we're gonna cut them up to be used as watermelon seeds. The first step is to melt our green chocolate and coat the inside of our brain molds. All right, we've got a bag of chocolate that's been microwaved and is nice and liquid feeling. So I'm just gonna cut off a corner, squirt it into the mold, and then rotate the mold around to try and get a nice even coating. So the difficulty I'm running into is that while the chocolate does get considerably more liquid than when it starts, it doesn't exactly end up runny. So trying to get it to flow around evenly inside all of the crevices of the mold is a little bit tricky. Putting a little bit of chocolate right on my finger and spreading it around to a couple spots that I see some gaps, just to try and get a little bit of coverage. I think it's actually working pretty well though. That stuff gets you messy almost immediately, but I'm liking the color. It's good for both watermelon rind and zombie brains. Our green chocolate has started to cool, so let's move on to the white chocolate. White chocolate seems to be a little runnier than the green chocolate was, so yeah, it's definitely flowing better. Maybe all that green dye kind of solidifies it or something, I don't know. The heat from the white chocolate I think has melted a little bit of the green chocolate with it. You can see it's got some green in it as it pours out. I think that means it'll just be bonded together really well. Yeah, that looks really a lot better coated this time than it did the first time, so I don't think I have to go and spread any in there. I think it's nice and evenly done. All right, now for the next one. Shake, 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 shake. This isn't as entertaining as I'm making it look. Unless you really like shaking chocolate, in which case this is more entertaining than I'm making it look. Pour out the extra, same thing, little bits of green coming out with it. Heat from the white chocolate melted some of the green chocolate, but that's good. There you have it. The green chocolate and the white chocolate are both poured into the molds in separate layers. Now we just have to let those cool down a little bit before we add our gummy mixture. And it's just got swirls of green and white chocolate. I'll take these two molds and pop them in the freezer for about 10 minutes, which is about how long it takes to make our gummy mixture. Our chocolate in the mold is cooling off in the freezer, and while it is, let's start mixing up our gummy mixture. We'll start with 2 cups of cold water and 1 cup of corn syrup. Stir the corn syrup until it's evenly dissolved into the water. With our corn syrup evenly mixed in, we'll add 8 packets of gelatin and 4 boxes of jello. Now our gelatin is mixed in, let's throw our pot on the stove. We'll let this heat up for about 10 minutes, stirring it every minute or 2. Our gummy mixture has started to cool down just a little bit, so I'm going to pull the bubbles off of the surface of it so we have a nice clean cast. Let's grab the brain molds out of the freezer and start pouring in our gummy mixture. What I'm going to try and do is pour our gummy mixture into the molds, let it cool down for a minute, and then pour it back out. I'm hoping this will help form a layer of the gummy mix on the inside of the chocolate. Then I'm going to use our black licorice seeds, mix that into the rest of the gummy mixture, and pour it back in. My goal is for the black licorice seeds to stay evenly suspended in the gummy mixture and not just all fall to the bottom. Now we just gotta wait for a few minutes. Our molds have had a few minutes to cool down and hopefully form a nice layer of gummy candy on the inside of the chocolate. I'm going to pour out what's left of the gummy candy, mix in our watermelon seeds, and pour it back in. Got a little bit of chocolate going out with that. I hope it hasn't melted our chocolate layer too much. After all, this is an experiment. I haven't done it before. It doesn't look like it's formed much of a layer in there, so it might have been too warm when I poured it in. We'll see. I'm gonna give it just a little bit more time to cool down and thicken up. Hopefully our watermelon seeds will stay suspended in the middle of it. Well, at least in the pot, it looks kind of like watermelon, so that's something. It seemed like it was cooling off a little unevenly, so I think parts of it are kind of lumpy now. I'm not sure how well this is gonna go into the mold. Oh, it's working, it's going in. Kind of. Go in. All right, this has started to set a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna throw it on the stove on really low heat to get it a little bit softer and then pour it back in. Trying to get it at just the right stage so that things stay suspended in the middle of it, but you can still pour it is pretty tricky. I'm trying to keep this stirring around as it cools off a little bit so it won't get so clumpy like it did before. All right, I've been stirring this as it cools down and you can see it's turned very gelatinous and the seeds are now suspended in it. So before it cools down so much that it can't pour, I'm gonna try and fill the molds. Open. Oh man, it's cooling really fast. Come on, fill the mold. Okay, that got pretty messy in there. As you can see, it's sticking to my hands, it's sticking to the mold. It's really tough to get a consistency that both suspends the watermelon seed pieces and can still pour into the mold. And it goes from one to the other in just a matter of seconds. I do think I got most of the mold full, and I also have a hope that all of the mixing around added some bubbles into it, which will give it sort of more of the look and texture of the inside of watermelon. So here's hoping that worked in our favor. Now we just need to let these cool for a while, then we can take them out of the mold and check our result. Our zombie brains have now had a chance to cool down completely, so it's time to demold them and see how they turned out. Alright, starting to peel this away. These brain molds are surprisingly complicated. Like there's a lot of different ins and outs of them, so I don't want it to grip too much onto the candy. I think everything else that we've molded in this brain mold was actually like flexible and gummy. So this might be the most rigid piece that we've ever tried to take out of it. It's a little tricky. We're gonna have a couple small bits of silicone left over, stuck in the cracks, but that is one gross looking zombie brain. Oh, and then we got like a watermelon colored brain stem coming out over here. Brainy. Okay, let's try and get our second brain out too. Ooh, chocolate is cracking on this one. It's a few IQ points down every time something breaks off. Zombie might not be very bright. Man, that's really sticking to the silicone in places. Apparently I should not be a brain surgeon. I think his insurance is gonna cover this. Well, there's part of it. Yeah, this is like after the zombie got hit in the head with a shotgun or something. I don't know, the apocalypse was not kind to this one. There you have it, there's our two separate brains. The first one came out pretty well. You can see some of the gummy down at the bottom. The second one, for some reason, the gummy wasn't stuck very well to the chocolate, and the chocolate was stuck really well to the silicone. so it kind of broke into more pieces when it came out. I still have one main largest piece, but a lot of the exterior brain didn't survive the operation. Well, this brain is already cracked, so I say let's cut it down in half and see if we've got that watermelon look we were hoping for. There you go. There is our watermelon chocolate brain. Someplace, this is weird. Like it's, oh my gosh, the whole thing I think is just gonna slide right out. That's gross. That kind of reminds me of a hermit crab coming out of its shell. Look at this, letting it cool off for a while might have messed with it pouring, but like you can see the seeds suspended in the watermelon gummy, and that worked pretty well. And I said that I hoped that the air would actually make it look more like watermelon. I think that worked too. There it is. Oh man, and somehow we got green, then white, then green again. I don't know how that happened. I'm trying to go pretty slow because I don't want to crack the chocolate. Ooh. Well, that cracked a little bit on that side and on that side. Let's just cut down through, see what we get. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That is beautiful. Look at that watermelon look. You got the green, you got the white, you got the fruit, and you got the seeds all suspended in there. That turned out wonderful. There we go, 2 candy zombie brains that are watermelon on the inside. We've got layers of green and white, then watermelon with seeds in it. I think this turned out pretty great. If you want, you could just take the whole green brains, put them on display, it'd make a great Halloween decoration. Then when it's time to eat, you can crack them open. You've got white chocolate, you've got the watermelon. If you like black licorice, you can eat the seeds as well. This has been a great project and I'm really happy with the result we got. Thanks for joining us for this video and I look forward to the next one. Talk to you then. That just shatters right off and then you just have like smushed zombie brains. Brains. Here's our brain. Now it's a watermelon brain. Watermelon and white chocolate. Not bad. Also, zombie brains. Not bad.